Meeting called to order. Councilmember Chapman.
Here.
Councilmember Clayton.
I think she had to run out for a quick sec.
Okay, I'll come back to her. Councilmember Kendall.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Quinn.
Here.
Mayor Moore.
Here.
And do we have Councilmember Clayton, Chapman back? Clayton.
Looks like she's muted.
Thank you. Yes, I'm here.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Councilmember Clayton. We will now have a silent prayer, a moment of reflection. We will now salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag
To the flag.
of the United States
Of
of
the
America
United States of
and to the
America.
republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible,
Indivisible,
liberty, and
and justice for
Oh.
As to comply with the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, PL 1975, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided in the following manner. The annual notice was forwarded to the Asbury Park Press, the Coaster, the Star Ledger on January 7th, 2021, and posted on the bulletin board the same date. All notices are on file with the city clerk. We will now move on to proclamations. We have two proclamations. Our first proclamation is for Alphabet's Preschool proclaiming March 26th as SEL Day. And I will read the proclamation. Whereas social emotional learning, SEL, is the process through which all young people and adults acquire and apply the knowledge, skills, and attitudes to develop healthy identities, manage emotions, and achieve personal and collective goals, feel and show empathy for others, establish and maintain supportive relationships, and make responsible, caring decisions. And whereas more than 2 decades of research demonstrates that education promoting social and emotional learning, SEL, effectiveness is documented by various sources, including student achievement, neuroscience, health and employment, psychology, classroom management, learning theory, economics, and the prevention of youth program behaviors, and can have continued positive impact on the academic, emotional well-being, and abstinence from substance abuse for students worldwide for up to 18 years. And whereas the core competencies and skills attained through SEL prepare and equip early learners, young adults, and beyond to succeed in our growing global economy and decrease the likelihood of their living in public housing, receiving public assistance, involvement with police before adulthood, and ever spending time in a detention facility, per a national study by the American Journal of Public Health. And whereas a concerted efforts, expert and economic investments from all community leaders, educational facilities, stakeholders, parents, and residents to enhance the depth, strength, and momentum of this insightful use of public resources, not only because it's proven 11-to-1, a return on an investment, and improved cultural competency, but its invaluable long-term social and economic benefits to the community for generations to come. Now therefore be it established that Mayor Moore, the Asbury Park City Council, and Alphabet's Preschool proclaim the last Friday in March to be Social Emotional Learning Day in the city and encourage all community members and organizations to seek ways to support and integrate SEL competencies and subcompetencies within our community. And we move on to our second proclamation. This is for Elizabeth Arteaga celebrating 30 years in business in Asbury Park. Whereas Elizabeth Arteaga, founder and proprietor of Elizabeth's Agency, immigrated to the United States from Peru on December 23rd, 1981, and whereas in 1987 she gained citizenship status and graduated from the business program at Essex County College, and whereas Ms. Arteaga, while 3 months pregnant with her second child, hosted the Elizabeth Agency's grand opening at its startup location on Bond Street, April 1st, 1991, to serve the community as a licensed notary public and tax preparer. And whereas, in addition to tax preparation, Elizabeth also translates documents from Spanish to English, guides others in gaining citizenship, and holds a church youth group to help struggling teens. And whereas the expansion of services caused Elizabeth's agency to move to its current location at 611 Main Street, where on April 1st, 2021, she celebrated 30 years of business in Asbury Park. And whereas she is an active member of the Holy Spirit Church, who through her church affiliation and her business has been serving the Latin American community for the past 30 years. And whereas Miss Arteaga is a trailblazer in her own community, whose entrepreneurial spirit spurred her 3 children, Alan, Diana, and Lori, to set their own course as they pursued their passions and served the community through technology, realty, and biological science fields, respectively. And whereas her aspiration to inspire our community for many years to come by proficiently building community connections is fueled by her faith and have caused her to be an influencer for generations. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Mayor Moore and the Asbury Park City Council acknowledge Elizabeth Arteaga, founder and owner of Elizabeth's Agency, for her indomitable spirit and 30 years of dedicated service to the city of Asbury Park, and wish her continued success in her endeavors. That concludes the proclamations. We will now move on to special events applications.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The first application before you is the Bike MS Coast to Coast Bike Event to be held on May 8th. Second is the New Jersey AIDS Walk on May 2nd. Cross and Orange Wedding Reception in Kennedy Park, May 14th. Memorial Day Carnival in Bradley Park, May 16th through the 31st. And lastly, the National Day of Prayer on May 4th, which will be held at the flagpole in the parking lot of City Hall. Are there any questions? If not, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
We will now move on to items to be presented. We have a presentation by Michele Alonso, Director of Planning and Zoning. Do we have Michele?
Yes, I just became unmuted. Can I have permission to share my screen? Hey, good evening, everyone. My name is Michele Alonso. I'm the Director of Planning and Redevelopment for the City of Asbury Park. I'm here to give a very brief presentation tonight on the proposed amendments to the Asbury Park Land Development Ordinance, City Code Chapter 30, otherwise known as the Zoning Code. So these amendments I'm presenting tonight, and they're also available on our website. There'll be a link at the end of this presentation. They're based on the recommendations of our 2017 Master Plan and Master Plan Reexamination Report. Myself and a subcommittee of planning board members, zoning board members, council people, and our consultants have been working on these amendments for the last 2 years. This is the most comprehensive revision in decades for the city, and also includes revisions to our zoning map. The key parts of the zoning that's to be amended are fences, lighting, landscaping, signs, overall definitions, zone districts, the uses and the bulk requirements, otherwise known as the footprint of the building, conditional uses, parking design standards, and community design standards. So this is the code of the city that regulates these elements of buildings. Fences. The 3 major changes to fences is that now if people with corner lots, they can now place a fence closer to the sidewalk. However, sight lines need to be preserved. Fences at all street intersections shall not be constructed to limit or obscure sight distance within the sight triangle of any street intersection. We also changed we lessened the requirements for corner lots, that someone on a corner lot can have a taller fence and a solid fence. However, those fences that face a street and are solid need to be wood. It can't be a synthetic material. If someone chooses to do what is permitted now, the open picket fence, it can be of any material. Lighting. We've created standards for lighting where previously they did not exist. Lighting in the industry is typically measured in foot candles. Digital signage lighting is measured in nits. So for building lighting, we have that lighting at someone's property line cannot exceed 0.1 foot candles, and this is to ensure that someone's lights don't glare into someone else's house. And along the same lines, now all light fixtures for residential, commercial properties, any type of property, can't produce glare. We now have standards for lighting for parking lots that lighting fixtures cannot exceed 14 feet in height, and that they have to, any light fixture for any building, again, has to face downward and can't create glare. And that for parking lots, we have a standard of lighting, again, expressed in foot candles, that minimum lighting shall be 0.5, but the average shall be 1, and that's a standard that's very common in the industry. Landscaping. We made a few changes to landscaping, that street trees shall be the predominant species found in the immediate area, that we revise street tree locations in order to avoid conflict with intersections and public street infrastructure. We now have regulations on the correct way to plant street trees, soil and drainage requirement, tree pit sizes based on sidewalk size, and minimum size requirement, which again in the industry is measured in calipers, 0.5 to 3-inch caliper. These regulations for street trees will most likely affect developers of larger parcels and not the average homeowner. Signs. We did an overhaul, or I should say modernization to our sign ordinance. We've now made no distinction between commercial, personal, and political signage as far as regulations go in terms of number and size. We have much more detailed definitions, taking into account the many different types of signs that we encounter today. We now have more detailed regulations for digital signage, and now we regulate the brightness, as I had stated before, is usually measured in nits. And we also added regulations for the brightness of all signage, whether it is what we call indirect lit, which is with spotlights, or whether it's what's called channel lit when each letter is lit, or halo lit when the light shines in back of the letters. Definitions, we added new definitions to things that we encounter more so today: balconies, decks, definition for family and household, office, stacked parking, townhouse, a bed and breakfast, density, microbreweries and brew pubs, sexual-oriented businesses, and service stations. We made changes to the zoning map with the elimination, or I should say the combining of districts. We've eliminated the R1A district because it's now part of the R1. And the PO district was eliminated, and they were incorporated in the surrounding districts, R1s, R2s, R3s, mostly based upon the characteristic of the block. We changed the regulations for the R2 district that they permit 1 and 2 family homes, where before you could, under certain conditions, have 4 families homes. We changed this because almost no properties met the threshold for a 4 family. And we made clearer categories for parks and schools. P1 for parks, P2 for schools. And we upgraded for the light industrial district the uses, and we included the supermarket on Memorial. We took the supermarket out and put in the B district, business, because not light industrial. And for the light industrial district, gave it a modern update to the uses that can be permitted in the light industrial district. Bulk standards. What are bulk standards? Bulk standards are the standards that dictate basically how big your house could be, how big a building can be, and how tall, how much of it can cover on your lot. Sometimes when we talk about parking, they're lumped in with bulk standards as well, but parking standards have not changed in this zoning update. But what we did do for the R1 district or the low density residential districts, we eliminated a density requirement and FAR. FAR is floor area ratio. It's a complicated formula, and that's one of the reasons we eliminated it. We eliminated in the zoning code minimum unit sizes. We upped building coverage from 25 to 30% in the R1 zone. We also have an exemption for sheds like you could buy off the rack at Home Depot. And we added a lot coverage requirement while we had none before. Lot coverage is basically how much of your property can be paved. And then we revised what is a minor home occupation to 20% gross floor area and no cap on deliveries. Conditional uses. Conditional uses are usually uses that we have more standards for than the typical uses that you find in the R1 zone or the B zone. We've added craft distilleries and microbreweries, townhouse development, and the major home occupation. We added new standards for residential healthcare facilities, child care centers, churches, houses of worship, and funeral homes. And we removed helistops. They're no longer permitted in the city. And we also removed various auto repair uses. We revised our parking lot design standards. 1 tree is required for 4 paved parking spaces. This doesn't pertain to 1 and 2 family homes. When there's no room for a landscape buffer, usually required for a multifamily building or an industrial property or commercial property, you may instead use a wall or a fence and a smaller landscape buffer in its place. We clarified what is tandem parking, otherwise known as stacked parking, when one car is blocked in by another. And we also upgraded the requirements for parking garages that face a public street, where they have to do 50% of the ground level with what's called an active use. So you don't have a big blank wall on the street. The design standards are in the zoning ordinance. There are 3 major changes that we made to this section. That the primary front of the house and the front entrance of the main house has to have its door facing the sidewalk and the street. That garage doors and openings for a attached garage, not a detached garage, has to be set either in the rear or the side of the house so that the garage doors are not visible from the street. And that commercial buildings, mixed-use buildings, retail buildings shall be oriented, again, to the street, that they have frontage and designed to be pedestrian-friendly, to be walkable. This is the, this is the proposed zoning map that shows the revisions to the districts. The R1 is here where the R1A was, where the PO was before. You can see it's a combination of R2 and R1. And the supermarket is now in the B zone rather than the I zone. And you can also see the creation of the P1 districts, logically where we have parks, and the P2 districts where we logically have schools. And this is the current zoning map that is in effect now, just for comparison. So I went through this presentation very quickly tonight. It wasn't a deep dive. If you want a deep dive, or even just to learn a little bit more, I have a video on our website under the header of our department, Planning Redevelopment. The link is here to watch the video, and also is a link to the complete new ordinance. If you have questions or comments, here you can see on the screen, we have a special email, zoningamendments@cityofasburypark.com. This is also on the website. And if this is too much for anyone to remember, You can always email me. You can go to the website and find my email address. I am Michele Alonso. I am the Director of Planning and Redevelopment. And thank you for letting me present tonight.
Okay, our second presentation is also by Michele Alonso, Director of Planning and Redevelopment. We have an amendment to the Central Business District Redevelopment Plan requested by the Asbury Park Brewery.
Okay, once again, I'm going to ask for the ability to share screens, which so again, I'm Michele Alonso. I'm the Director of Planning and Redevelopment for the City of Asbury Park. And we have a request from a well-known business here in the city, the Asbury Park Brewery, which most of us know, and it's located off of Main Street, is requesting to move or have a second tasting room on Cookman Avenue. They're making a request to be at 614 Cookman Avenue. This requires a amendment to the Central Business Redevelopment Plan to permit this use. And I have here on the map where the location is. This is the cover of the redevelopment plan, and the amendment's very simple. Under the Cookman Avenue Retail Core, I would list that for block 2404, the block that's located on Cookman, that microbreweries are permitted, and that we would put in the definition of microbrewery that we created for the new zoning amendments. And it's on the screen, and it goes along with the state definition for the brewery license that would let them brew on site and have the tasting room. And this is a brief presentation tonight. That's all to my presentation because it's a very simple request and a very simple amendment.
Thank you, Michele.
Thank you.
Do we have any questions for Michele, or shall we move on? Not hearing any. We will move on to the public participation portion of the meeting. Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped matters from City Council. We will start with Councilmember Chapman.
Hi, everyone. I just want to remind everyone that on Saturday, April 24th, there is a cleanup planned for both Sunset and Wesley Lakes. We hope you'll come out and join us. We've also gotten quite a few phone calls and emails about the upcoming election on April 20th. As most of you know, there has been a group of petitioners who developed a referendum for rent leveling. And their proposed ordinance will be on a special election on April 20th. The city has also, after much research, created a rent leveling ordinance that was adopted in March, and we feel that that was the best ordinance for our 15,000 plus residents. The confusion to people is they don't understand the yes and the no part. If you agree that the rent leveling ordinance that the city has passed is in the best interest of the city, then you would want to vote no. If you were wanted to vote on the rent leveling ordinance for the petitioners, then you would vote yes. So that's the difference there. The other thing that was confusing to people is that they don't realize the polls are open for voting. So you could go cast your vote in person if you haven't requested or received an absentee ballot. And that's it for me.
Councilmember Clayton.
Good evening, everyone. I just want to update you that free COVID testing is still happening at the Transportation Center. And if you are in the sound of my voice, you have another half an hour this evening while they're still testing. And the next test will take place on May 12th, again at the Transportation Center from 4 to 7. Also, any Asbury Park resident who is eligible to receive a vaccination and needs assistance can call 732-775-0960. Leave a message with your name, age, phone number, and address, and a staff member will call you back And this number is staffed 24 hours. So please, if you need assistance, don't hesitate to contact us. And that's all for me. Thank you.
Councilmember Kendall.
Yes, hello, everyone. A question came to me that I could not answer. It's concerning our cab drivers, and they was wondering, do the cab drivers spray their cars after they pick up or leave a particular person that they dropped off? I told them, well, I do not have the answers to that. I don't know. And maybe it's something that Donna or Fred can get back to me and let me know. The second thing I wanted to talk about is when you first got your vaccine shot, they gave you a card and to put the date on it. And the second one, and when you got your vaccination, well, your second vaccine, you had 2 dates on it. And it was told to me when I went and got my shots to make sure you don't lose this, because you never know when you're going to need it again. That's it. Thank you.
Deputy Mayor Quinn.
I don't have anything. I do want to thank Michele Alonso. You know, I know those zoning ordinances have been a long time coming, and a number of committees and smaller committees worked on it. So kudos to everyone who put the time and effort into those changes.
Mayor Moore.
Thank you. Please, to everybody, continue to mask up and to social distance. We are not out of the woods yet. And just everybody stay safe. Thank you.
Matters from the city manager.
I have nothing, Melody.
Matters from the city attorney.
I have nothing at this time either, Melody. Thank you.
We'll now move on to the public participation portion of the meeting. Do I have a motion to open the meeting to the public?
Move it, Clayton.
Move it, Kendall. Second, Kendall.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
The meeting is now open to the members of the public. Members of the public may participate by using the raise hand function in the meeting or by dialing *9 on your phone to raise your hand in the Zoom meeting. I will call your name or the last 4 digits of your phone number when it's your turn to speak. Please state your name and address for the record. I will give you a warning when you have 1 minute remaining, and I'm going to respectfully remind the public that I need a full address. It can't be Mr. Smith Main Street. I need a full, complete address. Okay, I am calling upon Peter Siegel. Peter Siegel, please state your name and address for the record.
Hi, can you hear me, please?
Yes.
Hi, it's
Name and
Peter.
address go ahead.
Yeah, Peter Siegel, 1412 Main Street. Thanks for the opportunity to speak. Good evening, everybody. I come to you tonight to speak on my time here, unfortunately, with some sad news. And the sad news is that, as we all know, this referendum is happening and everybody's out delivering messages and educating themselves about the issue. Well, tonight, the Vote No team was conducting meet and greets at some apartment buildings in town and was attacked by the Vote Yes side. The police had to come. There was voter intimidation. There was tenants trying to get into their doors, into their apartments, and they weren't able to because they were the Vote Yes team was up in their face and being physical and aggressive. And there was 4 police cars there. And it was a really sad thing to see. Especially I saw the Asbury Park Press article that came out, and there was video of various Vote Yes people peacefully conducting their meet and greets and walking around and talking to people, which is really all the Vote No people were trying to do tonight. But instead they were accosted and abused and intimidated. And it was really sad to see. And I hope that for my counterparts on the Vote Yes side that are listening to this, I hope that you can understand that all we wanted to do was deliver a peaceful campaign message as well. And we were deprived of the opportunity to do that tonight. People were threatened. My tenants were threatened, saying you're living in this building, and cursed at and yelled at. It was really horrible. And so to the extent that kind of thing can
1 minute remaining.
To the extent that you guys can keep your dogs off the trail, I think it's not only respectful and nice and expected, but it's the right thing to do, guys. I mean, I can't believe it's come to this. So I thank you. I'm sorry I had to use my time for this. I just came from the incident just a moment ago. It just happened. And we have to have the police escort us around to deliver our campaign message now, because we're being attacked and threatened, and our tenants are being threatened. And it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. I wouldn't have expected this. So I hope it can get better. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you. Next.
I am calling upon Pam Lamberton. Pam, please state your name and full address for the record.
Hi, Pam Lamberton, 321 Sunset Avenue in Asbury Park.
Go ahead, Pam.
I feel the need to clear up an important misconception concerning the rent stabilization ordinance that's being considered by voters on April 20th. This initiative ordinance can be changed within its first 3 years. This fact is known by many, but this misconception that it can't be changed has been perpetuated by those supporting the landlord's preferred ordinance, either by outright lying or by staying silent. I will read from the New Jersey State Statute 40:69A-196 regarding such an initiative ordinance. I quote, "No such ordinance shall be amended or repealed within 3 years immediately following the date of adoption of the ordinance, except by a vote of the people. The council may, within 3 years immediately following the date of adoption of the ordinance, submit a proposition for the repeal or amendment of that ordinance to the voters at any succeeding general election or regular municipal election. If that proposition submitted shall receive a majority of the votes cast at that election, then the ordinance shall be repealed or amended accordingly." End quote. This term of 3 years is to protect the will of the people. It is to prevent the council from unilaterally repealing or amending an ordinance that was just passed by a majority of the voters. However, the exception allows if the council wishes to amend or repeal such an ordinance, it has to ask those same voters. The council would put such a proposition on the ballot in November, and a majority of the voters would decide. This process would most likely be used if there is a glaring problem or a loophole to be fixed. If the voters agree to repeal the amendment, then the change would be effective. So as you see, the ordinance can be changed. Just like the short-term rental ordinance, many people are protesting loudly and often, but most people understand the implications of offering reasonable protection to Asbury Park's vulnerable renters. I urge everyone to vote yes on Monday. Thank you.
Thank you, Pam. And it's John Moore. And I might have been one of the guilty people at the beginning as far as saying it couldn't be changed. And all I was doing was repeating what Tracy, Felicia, and the petitioner said. And so they were incorrect. And our attorney corrected us, you corrected us, and you're absolutely right. It can be amended at a general election with another vote. Thank you.
I am calling upon Brad. Brad, please state your name and full address for the record.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Brad Batcha. I can't turn the video on.
I need your full address, Brad.
It's Brad Batcha. I'm an attorney. I'm at 600 Broad Street in Shrewsbury, and I represent Jean and Maurice Beauville at 1117 Sunset Ave. I'm speaking to you tonight on their behalf because you're going to be considering a resolution, which is 2021-187, to retain a company to demolish their home. So I want to give you a little bit of a history of this property. My clients purchased this home back in 30 years ago when they were certainly much younger. And it's been a 4-family home. It's a pre-existing non-conforming use. Obviously, that street has changed. But these folks are not wealthy investors. This is their business. And they've been running this for a very long time now. 2 years ago, in March of 2019, they suffered a devastating fire. And it partially destroyed the property. And they went out and obtained a permit initially in September to do some interior demolition and cleanup, which they've done. And I don't know if anyone's been through a fire. I have, or Sandy. These kind of catastrophes are tough, and putting together the money and the insurance does take time. So as things progressed, we ran into COVID just on the heels of the end of the year. Now, your town has an ordinance that says you have to rebuild and start your work within a year. And our position is my client did that by getting his demolition permit for the interior and did some cleanup work. By the time he
Hi, Lovey.
went
What
to-
you doing?
and he submitted a
How are
application
you?
for the full permit, which was
Good.
July
Okay, I miss you. I haven't seen
during
you.
COVID. It was
I
denied
know.
because it was beyond a
have
year.
to because they don't let me.
Our position is that we started much earlier than that, and that permit should not have been denied when the plans were submitted in July. Since the time that they were denied, the plans were submitted in July.
45 seconds remaining.
My client has made several appeals, and he contacted my office. I've reached out to the borough attorney, and our position is that, he should really be given some type of a break here, especially in light of the fact that on March 9th, the governor declared a state of emergency and the Permit Extension Act kicked in. Now, this property is my client's retirement, effectively. He relies on this income, and it's really improper that this would be done. Now, he did let me know about this order, but unfortunately, 3 weeks ago, I left the office with COVID. And he did get a letter from an engineer that says the place has been, and he has 3 letters from engineers.
Time's up. I'm now calling
I
upon.
thank you. No, hold
go
on one
ahead.
second. I thank you, sir. And before we go to the next, whoever has the open microphone, please mute it and don't interrupt anybody speaking. Thank you.
I'm calling upon 4860. Please state your name and full address for the record.
Yeah, this is Maureen Nevin from 3 Deal Lake Court. And I'm calling to discuss the referendum for the stabilization ordinance for the rents in Asbury Park. I would just like to mention to Mr. Siegel, who called in, that there has been a lot of intimidation against the vote yes people. Just to, I was not at the event, so I can't comment on what happened there, but I am aware of really serious intimidation on the part of landlords. And unfortunately, the tenants don't feel safe enough to come forward. And that should read volumes into that. I wonder, I'd like to throw out this question. Why has this issue of rent control, of rent stabilization, become a them versus us, council versus the Asbury Park Affordable Housing Commission? It seems some opponents to the Affordable Housing Coalition's ordinance have lost contact with the real issue. The issue, of course, is protecting Asbury Park's renters from predatory and greedy and, in some cases, practicing slumlords and indifferent absentee landlords. Why do detractors say there are no homeowners, for example, no homeowners on the proposed rent stabilization board? The mayor with the council gets to appoint homeowners, and I believe that there has been space left for them. Why has the rent control law become us versus them? It has become a council versus renters issue. So let's talk about them. Why has the council become a rival of fair housing?
1 minute
It seems there are plenty of opinions out there, which I'm not sure it's really democratic that the council should be offering opinions. They should be seeking facts and getting the facts out to the public. And part of our ordinance actually refers to a part of their ordinance actually refers to our ordinance. The council has lost contact with the actual intention of either ordinance, so they are actually campaigning on ours is better than yours and that kind of nonsense, and not what is best for renters. Why is that? Everyone should be voting yes for a fair rent control act on April 20th at all the usual ballot places. Landlords who aren't even residents in single-family homes, who are actually
Time's up.
Next.
Calling upon Carrie Margaret Butch. Please state your name and full address for the record.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, my name is Carrie Margaret Butch. I live at 500 Deal Lake Drive. How is everybody this evening? I'm actually, I'm calling in on the rent stabilization ordinance. You know, the referendum that we're talking about, I think you guys, the council did a pretty good job of creating a document on the website that's a comparison of the ordinances. I do agree with most of it. You do point out major differences, and ours is on one major difference I want to talk to tonight, which the referendums ordinance talks about the CPI or 4%, whichever is lesser, that's the referendums, or the current ordinance, which is CPI or 3.5, whichever is greater. This is a huge, huge, huge issue because right now the CPI takes into the account the economy. After 3 years, under the projected consumer price index of 2%, a yes vote on the referendum could save tenants over $1,000 a year for a 1-bedroom. An average 2-bedroom rental could be $1,300 less a year under the referendum's ordinance. That's what's at stake in this election. A tenant's ability to count on fair rent increases based on economic indicators, or a landlord's ability to count on 3.5% a year regardless. I don't understand why the council would put in an ordinance that gave the landlords the greater amount of money when we had lesser, which was the residents and people
1 minute
renting
remaining.
apartments. I have 1 minute remaining. I have shared with Eileen a copy of what a sample 1-bedroom, sample 2-bedroom under the council's ordinance versus the housing coalition ordinance. What you're talking about is under our ordinance, a sample 2-bedroom. After 3 years, the landlords would get an additional $1,700 a year. I think that's a lot under our ordinance. Under the council's ordinance, it's over $3,000 more a year. So this is what this is about, guys. It's about dollars and cents, and the amount of money that has gone into deceptive mailers that have been claiming property taxes will skyrocket. Vote no, and we're residents. We're telling you to vote no when it's actually a realtor lobbyist.
Time's up.
Thank you, Carrie. And I think at the beginning of your statement, you said we did a decent job as far as comparison. If you saw something wrong there, you shouldn't wait 2 weeks for a council meeting. All our phone numbers, you text us, you email us, the city manager's phone number. I mean, if there's something wrong on any of our websites about any issue, don't wait for a council meeting grandstand. Please get in touch with us right away. We will be the first ones to correct it. Thank you. Next.
Mr. Mayor, I just want to remind the general public that each speaker is only given one turn during the public participation portion of the meeting. If you've already spoke, I'm going to ask you to please respectively lower your hand. I'm calling upon Felicia Simmons. Felicia Simmons, please state your name and full address for the record. Felicia, *6 to unmute yourself. All right, we'll come back to Felicia. Calling upon Tracy Rogers. Tracy, please state your name and full address for the record.
Rogers, 1034 Sewell. I don't know what Mr. Siegel was talking about. Any people that have been representing the petitioners and going out and supporting their community have been peaceful, and we've seen that. There's articles in the paper. What we haven't seen is we've seen massive amount of lies being sent through mailers, up to probably raking over $100,000 sent out, and people saying lies about taxes going up and things such as that. We have been very peaceful. We have bent over backwards to work with this committee, and I also I'm very feel that the comment made by Eileen Chapman that if you want to, in the best interest of the city, vote no. Right now, the residents will have a clear opportunity of making a choice, and that's what we told people. We've given them a choice. We went out and got these signatures to put this on the ballot because it was not done by the council. And the amount of time or your research that you say you put into it does not show it, because almost 30% of your ordinance residents are being displaced or not being protected in this ordinance. Right now, this is an opportunity, and we see that many people in this community need help. We're getting calls from from residents saying property owners are threatening them because they're speaking out about this. I got a call the other day where a property manager wanted to see a resident because they put that she researched and said our residents should vote for something. We had a landlord try to sneak in a law that said that the property would be unaffected by rent control. These are things that we've seen. We know people are in bad conditions and living in him. We're getting more phone calls than the city are on these issues that we're trying to push. We are not out here trying to do anything but make this city better. And we've tried to work along with the city in every capacity. So we would make sure that we understand. And also one of the things on vacancy decontrol. Right now, if you saw the article that came out in Asbury Park Press that talked about how many minorities were kicked out of Asbury, and has not been stated by this council. This is in an article in Asbury Park in a book that almost 10% of the minority population has been pushed out and nothing is done. And when we set up to fight to have these properties with regulations so they're not being, the prices are not, we should be respecting what we're looking at. And I hope people vote yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Tracy. Next.
Felicia Simmons, I'm calling upon Felicia Simmons. Please state your name and full address for the record.
My name is Felicia Simmons from 1034 Sewell Avenue, Asbury Park, New Jersey. I'm going to turn on my camera to show you where I am right now in Manhattan, right at a gala, where I'm receiving phone calls about what's happening in Asbury Park. First, there was in the lies that are being pushed. It is a lie that some of our people are out there causing havoc, but they are telling the fact, and we have the video to prove it. What we also are going over, where people are fakely calling people and addressing them in Spanish and other language like they're from our association, and they are not, right? They happen to call people that happen to be part of the association. So what I'm talking about is really coming out for the city. This is atrocious. This is atrocious. All we have is goodwill in our hands and a couple flyers. You have hundreds of thousands of dollars where you invest into tearing down this town. I'm about to cry. Tearing down this town. And it doesn't, Tracy spoke about 10%, but it was really 12% of the city has been dispersed in the last 7 years. 12%. That's almost 0.25%. Those are thousands of people, Black people that have been pushed out of town. And to have to come up and hear these things, where we've worked with the city for over 3 years, and it was said by your own lawyer in the December meeting that we've worked with you. You spent tens of thousands of dollars of the city's taxpayers' money to sit up there and come up with an ordinance that was just a regurgitation of our own ordinance, which was mindful, which was fair, which gave everybody in the city a voice, right? When we speak about what's happening in Asbury Park, it is going to go down in history that everyone who is voting yes for its own monetary gain is going to go down in history, because that's what you are doing. Right? You are stepping on people. You are causing homelessness. You are
1 minute remaining.
You are causing homelessness. You are causing, just because you want to make some extra dollars, right, off of people's backs. Right? People talk about want to make profits from landlords, and it's a business, but it's a business that dictates people's lives. Right? It dictates how educated they are. It dictates what they have to eat. It dictates the stress that they have, how much concern that they have. It dictates their birth rate of a whole culture. Right? It's mental stability, and that's all we're asking for. You can make your money, but not on the back of people, and that's what we have. That's what's on stake on 420. That's what's on stake. I am shaking. The nerve of people to sit up there and push that lie, right? And everyone who condones it, right? This is atrocious, and we as a community should say no, and say no to you, and yes to our ordinance. Thank you.
Time's up.
Thank you. Next.
Mr. Mayor, out of the sense of fairness, shall we give Brad another minute, just one more minute, to conclude his comments, being that when he spoke, he was interrupted?
Yes, Mayor, I would agree with that. This is Fred Raffetto, City Attorney. I believe that you should give Mr. Batcha 1 more minute to conclude his comments, given he was repeatedly interrupted while he was trying to address the council.
No problem. Go ahead.
So we're going to give calling upon just 1 minute.
1 minute.
Can we have 1 minute on the clock? We'll start it at 1 minute. I'm calling upon Brad Batcha. Brad, are you there?
Yes, I am. Thank you very much. I appreciate the extra minute, Mr. Mayor and Mr. Ruffetto. I just wanted to conclude by saying that we're in a situation now where you are getting to decide if you're going to move forward with the demolition. I've explained why we believe this is an unfair way to move forward. What we would ask is that you would consider postponing this so that the applicant can make an application to the zoning board and planning board to seek relief. We had been reluctant to do this in the past because it costs a lot of money to do it and it takes a lot of time, but we're forced now to be in that situation. If you do move forward with the resolution, my client has no choice but to file a complaint against the city on an order to show cause basis to stop the demolition, because that will cause him irreparable harm. So again, I ask that you consider the situation and the facts. This has been someone in the town for 30 years, who's an older gentleman and is doing his best to do his rebuild. I think he's entitled to due process of a fair hearing, and I ask that you not vote to hire the folks and adjourn this for another.
Thank you, sir. And again, sorry you were interrupted before, but thank you. Next.
I'm calling upon 5124. 5124, please state your name and full address for the record.
Hi, this is Rita Morano on another topic tonight.
Rita, we need your full address.
Oh, I'm sorry. 504 8th Avenue, Asbury Park, 07712. Complete?
Complete.
Okay. Well, I looked at, Donna, I'm going to be talking about you, Donna, but don't get offended. I blame the council for this contract. Donna gets 25 days vacation. I just read her whole contract. My hair's turning white again after I just got a touch up. She gets 25 vacation days, that's 5 weeks. Then she gets 14 sick days or 15 holidays. No, 14 holidays, 15 sick days, and 4 personal days. Look, and no salary is in this ordinance. I didn't see no salary. I saw 2% of a previous year or whatever, some kind of language that we don't understand. How do you give somebody 58 days off in 1 year when they only work 220? They work 280 days. I mean, she only works 202 days, and she might get sick in between and be out longer. And then the other thing is about the pension. I didn't understand that. I'd like that cleared up. After 3 years, does she get insurance for life and in the pension plan? It says 3 years, but she's getting a 4-year contract. It's unheard of. All these days off. I mean, I don't think that Donna's the Queen of Sheba, and the President of the United States doesn't even get these days. So, I mean, you need to relook at this. You people have never been in business. You don't know what it's like. But you don't like what it's being in business means. I was in it for 22 years. It's not a pretty picture if you can't pay a salary. But you have to go according to the means of the town. We're only 1 little mile. And then she gets a free cell phone and a free car. She lives 5 blocks away. Give me a break with this contract. This has got to be looked at. This is not fair. And you got to look at all the contracts because they all stink as far as I'm concerned. I mean, like if people realized if they looked at the bill resolution, things would go down and they wouldn't get a tax increase or a rent increase. You have to start paying attention to what's going on in this world. And I think this contract is, what is it, like 200 pages of nothing? Just benefits? Come on, you got to do better than this contract.
Time's up.
Hey, Rita, it's John. Thank you. I do not believe the contract 200 pages. So where you got that, I apologize. You can call me tomorrow. We'll talk about it. As far as the vacation days, personal days, and they were consistent with every other contract in the city. And as far as everything else, I believe if you look at other cities and everything, it's a very fair and rational contract. That's my opinion. If you want to call me tomorrow, we'll talk about it. Thank you. Next.
I'm calling upon 3350. 3350. Please state your name and full address for the record.
Oh, yeah, Ernest McNally. I'm a former resident at 400 Deal Lake Drive. I sold my home in March after 14 years. I'm in 710 7th Street in Southeast Florida now, and I'm looking to buy a place in Asbury or rent an apartment in Asbury. So that's my status.
Okay, sir, I'll give you back your time. What's the name of the city you're living at?
Excuse me?
Hello?
Yeah?
The name of the city.
Listen, Mr. Mayor, you had 2 police in Asbury get convicted of coming to my homes with guns and knives. And I told you a few weeks ago that the prosecutor has...
If you don't...
Lisa, mute him for...
If you don't state your name and full address, you're going to be muted.
And then you cannot talk. And we did that not just because of you, just because we thought there'd be... It's the right thing to do. Everybody has to say where they live. And if you don't want to do that, then you're not going to be able to talk. And even if it's Boynton Beach, whatever, I won't say it. You can tell me your address. If not, we'll meet you. Let him back in.
3350, are you there?
Yeah, Ernest McNally, 710 Northeast 7th Street, Boynton Beach, Florida. You happy, Mayor?
Thank you.
Go ahead.
You happy, Mr. Mayor? You're part of a harassing group in Asbury with your police and your city lawyer and your city manager. You harass everybody. So we move out of the city because we're afraid for our lives, afraid for our children. And you don't stop, Mayor. And look how you are. You tell certain people, call me at home. Really? Why don't you tell me to call you at home? You know, Mayor, you need to be investigated. You're nothing but a troublemaker. You hear me? You're a troublemaker, along with that law firm.
Mute him. Mute him. Mr. McNally, I hate to call anybody a fibber. I've told you to call me many times at my house. Take off the 3 minutes and give him 2 minutes. I mean, I'm getting tired of him. Yeah. He has full right to speak, but for him to say, I've never told him to call me in my house is total a lie. It's not a fib, it's a lie. Go ahead, you got 2 minutes, sir.
Mr. 3350, you have 2 minutes remaining.
Okay, so I'd like to talk about Operation Bid Rig, where the city manager went to prison, Terry Weldon. And it involved a lot of the council members in Asbury, and it involved about 60 people all over New Jersey. Almost everybody was found guilty. Some committed suicide. Everybody went to prison. Most of the Asbury Park people went to prison. Terry Weldon, the one who signed the operation, the master redevelopment plan. Now, here's my issue. Ansel Grimm-Aaron, who's now Refredo, right, have been the lawyers for Asbury and Long Branch probably for more than 30 years. When Mr. Pallone got elected in Asbury, the first thing he did was he fired Ansel Grimm-Aaron. That's first. Now, I don't understand why Ansel Grimm-Aaron, who had Mr. Solomon Dweck at their office with Mr. Zorro and a lot of other problems there, right, is still allowed to represent Asbury. And I'll tell you why. Because Ansel Grimm-Aaron is
1 minute remaining.
Lamuro Law. It's close with the prosecutor. It's close with everybody. And this law firm, along with your developers' lawyers, party together, raise political money together, show up and give money with Arnone cash to Amy Quinn's campaign in Asbury. Why don't you explain to people everything you're doing politically? The whole city needs to be investigated, and start with the mayor and council and get rid of Ansel Grimm-Aaron after more than 30 years of destroying Asbury. And don't give this Vieira a contract. She doesn't deserve anything. Look what she did to Homedale. She almost destroyed that city. You should be happy, Mayor. You got me to say my...
Time's up.
Okay, thank you. I think you made one mistake. You said Pallone got elected in Asbury. I think you meant to say Long Branch and next.
Not seeing any other hands raised, a motion to close the meeting to the public.
Close?
Move to
Move it to close.
All in favor?
Second, Kendall.
Aye.
Aye.
The meeting is now closed to the public.
Can I just say one thing, Melody? I wanted to make sure everybody had their time and we weren't holding anyone up. You know, I guess I'm a little bit puzzled by, you know, the idea that the city wasn't willing to work with the yes people, or that it's us versus them, because in April, the city put forward 8 or 9 ordinances, some of the yes people actually didn't support, for the set aside and affordable housing. And I can tell you, me and Yvonne spent, I don't know, a year or two, 18 months, let's say, we'll split the difference, with Derek Minow, Tracy Rogers, Randy Moore, and Felicia, and came up with 8 or 9 affordable housing ordinances. I want to reiterate, some of the yes people didn't support. And we voted on them, and we took, and I feel pretty comfortable saying 95% of the Asbury Park Coalition's recommendations. And those were long meetings. Those were meetings we didn't always agree, but we worked together, you know, throughout that year and a half. Now, there's new people in the coalition, but to say that, you know, we wouldn't work together is, I mean, that's dishonest, because we've worked together and we've worked together successfully. The yes people did a referendum with no input whatsoever from the city or the city council, which as a result of that, we had to act and do our own. So I'm just like puzzled when we talk about, you know, the city's worked with many members of the Asbury Affordable Housing Coalition, and we've worked together successfully. For whatever reason, a decision was made not to work with us at the inception of this, and to move forward with a referendum, which put the city in the position of we thought was glaring errors in the referendum. So sometimes we get like a revisionist history, and it's feeling a little bit like that on this. The city would have happily worked with the coalition on a rent control referendum, evidenced by the fact that we hired Beth, who worked with us on the affordable housing ordinances. We hired Beth to do a study so we could sit down and spend a few months battling out a rent control ordinance that the coalition in the city could promote. But that was taken off the table with the referendum. So anyway, just want to clear up that for at least for myself. I'm done, Melody.
Thank you.
And actually, I'd just like to make a comment as well, Melody.
Okay.
So during Mr. McNally's comments, he made all kinds of crazy accusations, which included myself and my law firm, threw out their representations about partying with developers, putting cash in council persons' pockets. I'm not sure what type of hallucinogenic substances Mr. McNally may be on, but those are complete fabrications and lies. So I just wanted to clarify that for the record. Everyone who knows me knows that is completely preposterous and fabrications and lies. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now move on to the minutes. We have the minutes of the regular meeting of March 24th, the 6 p.m. meeting. Do I have a motion?
Move it.
Second, Clayton.
Roll call. Councilmember Chapman?
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton?
Yes.
Councilmember Kendall?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn?
Yes.
Mayor Moore?
Yes.
We are on to the consent agenda resolutions. All matters listed on the consent agenda are presented collectively to the City Council and will be considered for approval with one vote. These matters are to be considered routine in nature. There will be no individual discussion of these items. If discussion is desired by one or more council member as to any particular item, then said item shall be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately. The items on the consent agenda we have from Resolution 2021-169 to Resolution 2021-179. Do I have a motion?
Move it.
Second.
Roll call. Councilmember Chapman?
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton?
Yes.
Councilmember Kendall?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn?
Yes.
Mayor Moore?
Yes.
We're now on to individual resolutions. We have individual resolution 2021-180, a resolution approving the payment of bills. Councilmember Chapman will be abstaining from item 21-00669. Do I have a motion?
Move it, Kendall.
Second, Chapman.
Roll call. Councilmember Chapman?
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton?
Yes.
Councilmember Kendall?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn?
Yes.
Mayor Moore?
No.
On to Resolution 21-181, a resolution authorizing the purchase of new sign displays. Do I have a motion?
Move it, Clayton.
Second, Chapman.
Roll call. Councilmember Chapman.
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton.
Yes.
Councilmember Kendall.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn.
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
On to Resolution 21-182, a resolution authorizing a payment to the Asbury Park Library for the removal and purchase of 6 Honeywell air conditioning units through Community Development Block Grant, CDBG. Do I have a motion?
Move it, Kendall.
Second, Chapman.
Second, Quinn.
Roll call. Councilmember Chapman.
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton.
Yes.
Councilmember Kendall.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn.
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
On to Resolution 21-183, a resolution authorizing the purchase and installation of an electronic digital message center sign from Daktronics for Springwood Park. Do I have a motion?
Move it, Clayton.
Second, Kendall.
Second, Quinn.
Roll call. Councilmember Chapman.
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton.
Yes.
Councilmember Kendall.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn.
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
We're on to Resolution 21-184, a resolution authorizing the reappointment of Donna M. Viero as the municipal manager and authorizing the execution of an employment agreement relating thereto. Do I have a motion?
Move it, Moore.
Second, Quinn.
Roll call. Councilmember Chapman.
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton.
Yes.
Councilmember Kendall.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn.
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Resolution 21-185, authorization to ratify the PBA Local 6 union contract. Do I have a motion?
Move it, Quinn.
Move it, Moore. Second, Moore.
Roll call. Councilmember Chapman.
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton.
Yes.
Councilmember Kendall.
Abstain.
Deputy Mayor Quinn.
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
We're on to Resolution 21-186, a resolution authorizing the award of a contract for the Kennedy Park concession. Do I have a motion?
Move it, Chapman.
Second,
Second,
Moore.
Kendall.
Roll call. Councilmember Chapman.
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton.
Yes.
Councilmember Kendall.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn.
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
We're on to Resolution 21-187, a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a contract with Rosario Contracting Corporation for the demolition of 1117 Sunset Avenue, Asbury Park, New Jersey. Do I have a motion?
Move it, Chapman.
Second, Quinn.
Roll call. Councilmember Chapman.
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton.
Yes.
Councilmember Kendall.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn.
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
We're on to Resolution 21-188, a resolution awarding a contract for Sunset Lake Pond Management. Do I have a motion?
Move it, Chapman.
Second, Kendall.
Roll call. Councilmember Chapman.
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton.
Yes.
Councilmember Kendall.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn.
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
We're on to Resolution 21-189, a resolution awarding a contract to Ben Schaefer Recreation for the installation of a new playground equipment located at 7th and Ocean Avenue. Do I have a motion?
Move it, Chapman.
Second,
Second,
Kendall.
Moore.
Roll call. Councilmember Chapman.
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton.
Yes.
Councilmember Kendall.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn.
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Resolution 21-190, a resolution awarding a contract to Ben Schaefer Recreation for the purchase and installation of a bandshell for Springwood Park.
Move it, Clayton.
Second, Chapman.
Second.
Roll call. Councilmember Chapman.
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton.
Yes.
Councilmember Kendall,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn,
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Resolution 21-191, a resolution awarding a contract to Millennium Communication Group for security cameras. Do I have a motion?
Move it, Kendall.
Second
Second.
Moore.
Roll call. Councilmember Chapman.
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton.
Yes.
Councilmember Kendall.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn.
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
We're on to Resolution 21-192, a resolution to award a contract to Millennium Communication Groups for fiber extension. Do I have a motion?
Move it, Chapman.
Second, Clayton.
Roll call. Councilmember Chapman.
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton.
Yes.
Councilmember Kendall.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn.
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
On to Resolution 21-193, a resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of Asbury Park to enter into a subsequent developer agreement with A. Hovnanian Holdings, New Jersey, LLC for the development of a property located at Block 4003, Lots 1, 2, and 16, the Baltic property, and Block 4003, Lots 12, 13, and 14, the Aegean property. Do I have a motion?
Move it, Quinn.
Second Moore.
Roll call. Councilmember Chapman.
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton.
Yes.
Councilmember Kendall.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn.
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
We're on to Resolution 21-194, a resolution of the mayor and council of the city of Asbury Park, acting as the redevelopment entity, granting conceptual approval to K. Hovnanian Holdings, New Jersey, LLC, regarding residential development on Block 4003, Lots 1, 2, 12, 13, 14, and 16, and referring the matter to the planning board for appropriate approvals. Do I have a motion?
Move it, Kendall.
Second, Chapman.
Second Moore.
Roll call. Councilmember Chapman.
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton.
Yes.
Councilmember Kendall.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn.
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
We're on to Resolution 21-195, a resolution rescinding liquor license 1303-33013-001, Monmouth Lodge, number 122, IBPOE, for the 2021 liquor license renewal season. Do I have a motion?
Move it, Kendall.
Second Moore.
Councilmember Chapman.
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton.
Yes.
Councilmember Kendall.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn.
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
We're on to Resolution 21-197, which is a resolution approving Monmouth Lodge 122 IBPOE liquor license number 1303-33-013-001 for the 2021 liquor license renewal term.
Move it, Clayton.
Second, Quinn.
Roll call. Councilmember Chapman.
That was a yes.
Okay. Councilmember Clayton.
Yes.
Councilmember Kendall.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn.
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
We are on to ordinances. Ordinances for introduction. The first ordinance for introduction is 2021-16, is the 2021 Cap Rate Ordinance with a public hearing date of May 12th. Do I have a motion?
Move it, Chapman.
Second, Clayton.
Second, Kendall.
Roll call. Councilmember Chapman.
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton.
Yes.
Councilmember Kendall.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn.
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
The second ordinance for introduction is 2021-17, an ordinance establishing a restricted parking space for use by handicapped persons at a property located at the 1100 block of Langford Street in the city of Asbury Park, and amending and supplementing Section 7-36 entitled Handicap Parking of Chapter 7 Traffic of the Revised General Ordinances of the city of Asbury Park, with a public hearing date of April 28th. Do I have a motion?
Move it, Kendall.
Second, Clayton.
Roll call. Councilmember Chapman?
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton?
Yes.
Councilmember Kendall?
Yes.
And Deputy Mayor Quinn?
Yes.
Mayor Moore?
Yes.
We are on to second readings, public hearings. We have ordinance 2021-9, which is an ordinance authorizing the participation of the city of Asbury Park in the Community Energy Aggregation Program that creates an option for 100% regionally sourced renewables, and amending and supplementing the Code of City of Asbury Park in order to create a new Chapter 21, therefore of, entitled Community Energy Aggregation accordingly. And before we open this up for a public hearing, we're going to have Michele Alonso, the Director of Planning and Redevelopment, give us a brief overview of this ordinance.
Good evening. I'll be very brief because I believe the title is self-explanatory in that this is an ordinance that for the city to aim to achieve 100% sustainable energy in 10 years. We already are going to participate with energy aggregation with municipalities such as Red Bank, Eatontown, Bradley Beach, Neptune, and this would just take it one step further. Again, I'd like to emphasize, even though this is an ordinance, at any time, if the city does not find it fiscally feasible to continue on this route, we can always amend the ordinance.
Does that complete your overview?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to open the public hearing on ordinance 21-9?
Move to open.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The public hearing is now open on ordinance 21-9. Members of the public may participate by using the raised hand function in the meeting or by dialing *9 on your phone to raise your hand in the Zoom meeting. I will call your name or the last 4 digits of your phone number when it's your turn to speak. You must state your name and full address for the record. Your comments may only be about the ordinance being presented for the public hearing. I am calling upon Charlie. Charlie, please state your name and full address for the record.
Yes, good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Charles Cradaville. I'm the Central Jersey organizer at Food and Water Watch. Our New Jersey office is based at 100 Bayard Street in New Brunswick, New Jersey. And just wanted to say on behalf of our 60,000 members across the state, Mayor and Council, thank you for advancing this important policy. Also wanted to express our thanks to the Green Team and Michele Alonso. It's been nothing but a pleasure working with you on this, and we look forward to seeing it implemented and seeing Asbury and other coastal communities continuing to lead the fight against the climate crisis. So thank you again for advancing this important policy, and thanks for your time.
I am calling upon 3350. 3350. Please state your name and full address for the record.
Yeah, Ernest McNally, 710 Northeast 7th Street, Boynton Beach, Florida. I'm looking for a home in Asbury, and I'd like to say that I attended a lot of meetings and talks about changing the codes and accepting this thing for energy, etc. And let me explain what the public goes through. The public goes through lawyers for the planning board and zoning board, etc., that always cut people off.
Mr. McNally, please keep your comments to the ordinance that's under review.
It is, Mr. Raffreddo. I'm talking about the meetings about passing this energy thing.
Nope. Time out. Cut them off. Cut them off. Keep your comments to the ordinance, not as personal statements anti-city. Thank you.
Not seeing any other hands raised, a motion to close the public hearing.
No, wait,
Comments.
no, wait.
All right.
Let Mr. McNolly back on, but
Okay.
he's got to keep his comments or questions or about the ordinance, not as far as general comments.
So
how the
I
city
participated. I participated in a lot of meetings about this ordinance, and I don't feel that it's logical. I don't feel that it's doable, and really, when you look at the way Asbury is and the way it's becoming, and to think that you're going to have enough solar energy to power a city that's going for urban density, I don't know who would say that this is conceivable, except for the companies that are probably going to profit by putting in these whatever they are, panels or windmills, whatever you're going to do in Asbury. So I don't agree it's possible. I don't think you should have approved it, but that's my opinion.
Thank you.
I'm calling upon Peter Siegel. Peter Siegel, please state your name and full address for the record.
Hello, Peter Siegel, 1412 Main Street, Asbury Park. I am unfamiliar with ordinance, this ordinance. Where, if someone can just direct me to where I can see a copy. I was just looking on the website for the city, and I didn't see it. Forgive me if I'm late to the party with that. And after I'm done, maybe if someone could tell me where I could find it, I would appreciate it. Number two, not being fully familiar with it, I just wanted to ask council and Michele if there's in this ordinance any implications for property owners or businesses that might impact taxes or business or property rights for them. I'm just in the wake of this rent control referendum where I hope that people vote no. I'm just curious what else might be coming, which might be impactful to residents and property owners and business owners in the town. The referendum will be impactful. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, do you want me to reply where they can be found?
Well, you can reply, or I can reply. We can all reply. Peter should know. It's up on our website. It's been posted there since Monday. And I don't know what else to say. Melody, correct me.
No, you're correct. He could go to our website right now, go underneath, go to City Council, click on council meetings and agendas, and you can view the entire meeting agenda packet.
Next.
Calling upon 5124. Please state your name and full address for the record.
Hi, Rita Morano, 504 8th Avenue. Could you explain a little bit about what are they going to do? Put solar panels on the municipal building? What's going to happen here? Why doesn't somebody say what they're going to do? We don't have to listen to the Green Team. They're part of the city. So we'd like to hear at least one expert say why this would be a good thing for the city. Can anybody explain it? What is it, solar panels? What's going to happen here?
Okay, Rita, I think we did have one expert try to give the opening statement, being Michele. So, Michele, if you want to expand a little bit on it, to bring Rita, like, it's not just
Michele isn't an expert. John, I hate to tell you, but Michele is not an expert. I'm sorry. I don't consider her an expert in energy.
Rita, okay. I'm going to do the same thing I did with others. We're going to play by the rules, let Michele speak, and then if you have something else to say, if she expands on it a little bit, we'll go from there.
Okay.
Okay, I'm unmuted now, and I want to apologize that I should have probably given a more detailed description because I assumed that it was known about this because we had presented it before in workshop. So this is about your Jersey Power and Light bill. So what this is us and other municipalities, we're going to go out to bid for clean energy, and different clean energy companies are going to bid. We will take the lowest price, and we'll only take the price if it becomes lower, if it's lower than what you see now in your bill. We will as a consortium, go into contract for a specific period of time. As of yet, it's undetermined. And then you would see, and it would be clean energy, and you would see the savings in your bill. Now, after we go out to bid and an entity is selected, every resident will have the option to opt out. In other words, you could keep the same energy providers that you have now, or you can you can go with the clean energy percentage. It starts off small and it builds over the period of 10 years. But as I stated before, at any time, if it's undesirable for the city, in other words, it's coming in as, more money than what we currently have, we can always opt out. So I hope that's clear. And this is only in the beginning. We're just starting this process, and I'll probably be here before the council at various times to give various updates to this process.
If this is something like the electric bills getting reduced, it doesn't work because they keep selling the companies. I don't know how many phone calls I get a week to reduce my electric bill. I mean, it never works. I tried it once. I won't try it again. And you're going to find out the same thing. It's a game that they play with people.
Well, I'll just respond. This is different. This is different because this is various clean energy providers bidding.
Mm-hmm.
And they will be in a set contract with us. So it's not the random phone calls you may get at home. It's different.
No matter how different it is, we have clean energy here. We live by the ocean. Now, I don't approve of things like that, but that's only my opinion. Take it for what it's worth.
Okay.
I'm sure a lot of people have tried the electric bill or reduced their electric bill, and it doesn't work. They keep selling the damn companies from one to the other. You keep getting phone calls. And you're going to find out the same thing. They're going to put solar panels on the municipal building? How can they do that?
Rita, there's no solar panels going on the municipal building. This is about, this ordinance tonight is about buying clean energy, going out to bid, buying clean energy, and aiming to increase the amount of clean energy that we buy over the course of 10 years. It's nothing to do with solar panels on the roof of municipal hall.
Michele, I'm sorry, I don't approve.
Oh, okay.
That's one person's opinion.
And we respect your opinion, Rita. Thank you. Next.
Calling upon Carrie Butch. Carrie Butch, please state your name and full address for the record.
Hi, Carrie Butch, 500 Deal Lake Drive. How clean is clean? A lot of energy companies consider nuclear energy clean. They consider like a lot of dirty industries are really considered clean. So how do you define clean energy?
Do you want me to answer that now, or do you have other comments?
No, that's it. That's my only comment, because I know that right now that it's a big discussion. What's considered clean energy?
So nuclear is not part of it. Nuclear is not considered a class 1 renewable energy in New Jersey. So in other words, nuclear is not part of it.
Correct.
Does that complete your comments, Carrie? Not hearing on, and I'll move on to the next person. Matt Coughlin. Matt, please state your name and address for the record. Your full address.
Yeah, how you doing? Matthew Crescio, 1615 Park Avenue. Michele, when you were explaining it, you said that we could opt out of the clean energy. Does that mean we're automatically signed into the agreement? That's my only question.
Yes, you will get a notification before it goes into effect. Every resident will. And then you just check a box that you want to opt out.
Okay. Okay, so just the prices, people have to watch their bills. Okay.
No, yeah, or it's going to be a separate, it'll be a separate letter. It's going to be a separate letter. And again, our goal here is not to increase anyone's bill. We're not.
Yeah, but solar prices, like say if you use solar renewable resources, those prices fluctuate heavily depending on the market, also depending on the weather situation. So they fluctuate greatly.
Right, but we'll be locked into a contract for a certain number of years.
With a guaranteed rate?
Right, yes.
And it won't fluctuate?
No.
Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Calling upon 4860. Please state your name and full address for the record.
Maureen Nevin, 3 Delay Court. I just want to clarify the term clean energy. That's also the name of a company in the same business. Could you tell me whether you're using it generically or referring to the company itself?
I'm using it generically.
Okay, thank you.
Next.
Not seeing any hands raised. A motion to close 21-9 to the public.
Move it, Kendall.
Second, Chapman.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The public hearing is now closed on ordinance 21-9. Do I have a motion to adopt ordinance 21-9?
Move it,
Move to
Chapman.
adopt Quinn. Second, Quinn.
Roll call. Councilmember Chapman.
Yes.
Sorry.
Hold on one second. More. I heard some good questions and some good concerns. I think once we go this route, I'm going to vote yes. We get out some flyers, nixles, I don't know if nixel, whatever, everything to inform the public what actually happened, because it is a complicated process and it is new to all of us. So I don't want anybody to be hoodwinked or snookered into something they don't want. So I think once we start this process, the best thing is that as much public information and transparency we can get out is deeply appreciated. Thank you.
Okay, I had a motion and a second. I'm going to continue with roll call. Councilmember Chapman.
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton.
Yes.
Councilmember Kendall.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn.
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
The second public hearing is on ordinance 21-12, an ordinance of the City of Asbury Park, amending Chapter 7 of the Code of the City of Asbury Park regarding traffic regulations pertaining to the Fisherman's Lot parking lot. Before we open this ordinance up for a public hearing, we will have a brief overview of the ordinance from Mike Manzella, the Director of Transportation and the Deputy City Manager.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This ordinance before you tonight is for a 3-hour time limit restriction for parking in the Fisherman's parking lot, which is located at the north end of Ocean Avenue at Daily Drive. This ordinance was reviewed over several meetings.
I think we lost you, Mike.
Yeah, I think we lost
Mike, you're on mute.
Sorry.
Mike's back on mute.
Sorry, having some technical difficulties. This ordinance was reviewed by the parking committee over several of their meetings and is before you tonight. If you have any questions, the 3-hour time limit would be from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m.
Does that complete your overview?
Yes.
Okay. Do I have a motion to open the public hearing on ordinance 21-12?
Move it,
Move to
Clayton.
open, Quinn.
Do I have a second?
Second, Quinn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Public hearing is now open on ordinance 2021-12. Members of the public may participate by using the raised hand function in the meeting or by dialing *9 on your phone to raise your hand. I will call your name and the last 4 digits of your phone number when it's your turn to speak. Please state your name and complete address for the record. Your comments must be about the ordinance being presented for public hearing. I'm calling upon 4860, your name and complete address for the record.
Yeah, Maureen Nevin, Delay Court. I don't have any idea what this means. I assume this is the parking lot that was added to what used to be a gravelly mess out there, and it was all nicely landscaped. I don't know who owns that. But it was supposed to, the Fisherman's lot was supposed to have some fish cleaning sinks and stuff like that up there. So I thought that the whole concept of a Fisherman's parking lot had been diverted over to, gentrification, if you will. So if you could explain it, Mike, I still don't get any picture of what's happening there. So yeah, Maureen, you are correct that the parking lot in question is the Fisherman's parking lot, which is at the north end of Ocean Avenue, right at the city border, along DLA Drive. And yes, that parking lot is a public parking lot owned and operated by the city of Asbury Park. It was, as you said, recently reconstructed right before, actually right in the middle of last summer. It was completed. And it is a free parking lot. It will remain a free parking lot. As of right now, there are no regulations in terms of who can park there and for how long. So we have noticed, the city has noticed that some vehicles are parked there for days on end without moving. And we are looking to simply implement a 3-hour time limit between the hours of 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. to allow for some more turnover in that parking lot, not have cars parking there on it. was that, 2-hour? 2-hour limit, did you say? 3-hour time limit. Oh, it's 3-hour time limit. So people can't park there and go to the beach for the day, right? Is that what they were doing with it?
Yeah, so between 9 a.m. and 9 p.m., you would only be allowed to stay parked in that lot for 3 hours, and then you would have to move. What we were noticing were many vehicles staying for weeks on end because there is no restriction. And we were noticing that many of them were actually residents of surrounding towns. They weren't even Asbury Park residents. So I'd like to avoid that and make sure that there's proper turnover in the lot to allow for parking for the fishermen and the surfers that do actually want to utilize the beach there for a short period of time.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I'm calling upon 5124. Please state your name and full address for the record.
Hi, 504, Rita Morano, 504 8th Avenue. Who's going to be monitoring this for 3 hours? Well, how are you going to monitor it?
So parking enforcement will monitor this like they monitor any other time-limited parking throughout the city. Our license plate enforcement system is able to monitor how long vehicles have been parked. Each time that they enforce a certain area and they drive by, they'll be able to identify how long that vehicle has been parked there. So if anyone's parked for over 3 hours, they would get a ticket.
Yeah, but you just can't go by hearsay. You're going to have to put a ticket on the car. You're going to have to do something to show that they're there 3 hours. Nobody's going to believe the parking guy. Everybody be fighting that ticket because, what's he going to look at a car license and say, oh, yeah, that's there 3 hours? There's got to be more to it.
That's exactly what they would do, Rita. They would, license plate readers actually take a snapshot of the license plate and the vehicle where it's parked. And they would, if someone were to try and go to court and fight the ticket, we would have the photographic evidence.
Okay, you didn't say that before. I mean, it sounded like, okay, after 3 hours, you were going to put a ticket on the car that you thought was there 3 hours. Yep. You got to be sure. And there's cars on the street for 24 hours. You ought to look at them, too. For days at a clip, they're on the street. And they don't move.
Yeah, it's not related to this ordinance, but that is something the parking committee is addressing next.
Okay. Thanks, Mike.
No problem.
Not seeing any other hands raised, a motion to close the public hearing on ordinance
More close.
21-12.
Second, Kendall.
All in favor?
Aye.
The public hearing is now closed on ordinance 21-12. Do I have a motion to adopt ordinance 21-12?
Move to adopt, Quinn?
Second, Clayton.
Roll call. Councilmember Chapman.
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton.
Yes.
Councilmember Kendall.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn.
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
The next ordinance up for public hearing is ordinance 21-13, an ordinance limiting service fees charged to retail food handling establishments by third-party food takeout and delivery service applications and internet websites during such times when the restrictions upon such fees imposed by state law are inoperative, and amending and supplementing the code of the city of Asbury Park accordingly. Before we open the public hearing on ordinance 21-13, we will have the city attorney give a brief overview of the ordinance.
Yes, thanks, Melody. Due to the hit that restaurants took during the pandemic, the state legislature enacted and the governor signed Senate Bill 2437 back in June of 2020. Under the law, while there are restrictions on indoor dining during the state of emergency related to COVID that limit indoor dining to less than 25% of capacity, third-party food takeout and delivery services such as Uber Eats and Grubhub, for example, are limited as to how much they can charge restaurants for food deliveries to certain set percentages by law. The intent was, given that restaurants were relying on takeout during this time to survive, they shouldn't be paying excessive delivery service fees during the state of emergency. Under the law, the state restrictions sunset as soon as indoor dining reaches 25% capacity. As you may recall, the governor increased indoor dining capacity limits to 25% by executive order back on September 1st of 2020. And as such, the protections under the state law are no longer operative. We are now at 50% of capacity for the governor's most recent executive orders. In any event, notwithstanding, there is still a sentiment that restaurants are still hurting. As such, Hoboken and Jersey City have ordinances to extend these protections so long as the state law is inoperative and so long as the COVID state of emergency is still in effect. Asbury Park would be the third municipality to follow the lead of Hoboken and Jersey City in an attempt to protect the city's restaurants. And the ordinance that's before you this evening was modeled off of the ordinances from Hoboken and Jersey City. And with that, I'll turn it over to the council.
Thank you, Fred. Do I have a motion to open the public hearing on ordinance 21-13?
Move it,
to
Kendall.
open, Quinn. Second, Quinn.
All in favor?
Aye.
The public hearing is now open on ordinance 2021-13. Members of the public may participate by using the raise hand function in the meeting or by dialing *9 on your phone to raise your hand in the Zoom meeting. I will call your name or the last 4 digits of your phone number when it's your turn to speak. Please state your name and complete address for the record. Your comments must be about the ordinance being presented for public hearing. I am calling upon 4860. Please state your name and full address for the record.
Yeah, Maureen Nevin, Deal Lake Drive, Deal Lake Court. How much? How are you going to make this work as far as the amount of money that you're going to restrict this delivery service to? Aren't they kind of all different rates?
It's based on.
How does that work?
It's based on the cost of the order and the charge that is levied by the third-party delivery service. And if an individual feels that they've been taken advantage of, they just need to present the receipt that shows the cost of the order and how much they were forced to pay to the third-party delivery service. And if it's above the extent that's allowed under the ordinance, then the Municipal Emergency Management Coordinator is responsible for enforcement. And every order that a fee is charged which exceeds that allowed under the ordinance is considered to be a separate offense.
So I guess that's what I'm asking. I mean, who decides that it's above or below what, you know?
The cost of the order.
What's the measure?
It's the cost of the order. It's a percentage of the cost of the order.
So
Again,
what is
you
the
can't charge more than
percentage?
15% of the cost of the order.
Oh, okay. I guess I missed that.
Yes, it's in section 28-3.7 of the ordinance on page 4.
Page 4 of the agenda?
Actually, yeah, page 4 of the ordinance that's part of the package for tonight's meeting.
It's packet page 435. 435. Thank you. I appreciate that. I don't know. I think that's going to be very controversial, but that's all I have. Thank you.
Not seeing any other, calling upon 5124, please state your name and complete address for the record.
Hi, Rita Morano, 504 8th Avenue. Who's the coordinator? Is it a city person or someone else? Who's the one you complain to?
The Municipal Emergency Management Coordinator, and that is
Who's that?
Garrett Iverson Jr.
Gary Giverson Jr.?
Yes,
He retired.
he retired as the fire inspector, but he's still the city's emergency management coordinator.
Well, that's a big surprise. We never got our management book. We never got the emergency management book, did we? We didn't even know we had a coordinator yet. But okay, so you reported to him, and what happens then?
A summons can be issued, which would be processed through the municipal court.
Okay. Thank you.
Not seeing any other hands raised, a motion to close the public hearing on.
Move to
ordinance.
close, Quinn?
Second, Moore.
Second, Kendall.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The public hearing is now closed on ordinance 21-13. Do I have a motion to adopt ordinance 21-13?
Question, Melody, and this is just, Fred, you correct me if I'm wrong, but what we saw in Jersey City, and I don't want to say that it's definitely going to happen here, but I'm going to imagine it's going to happen here because they've already reached out, is these companies, Grubhub or whoever who do the delivery service, fix their app to whatever our restriction is, 15%, and generally from Jersey City and Hoboken comply. Right, so you order your food via an app. This company takes a portion of a portion of that order, and what the companies end up doing are modifying the apps. So there is compliance.
Yes, and we did.
Did I say that correctly, Fred?
Absolutely. We did make contact with officials in Hoboken and Jersey City, and they have confirmed that the third-party services have been compliant with the restrictions that they have enacted, which are similar to the ones that are before you this evening, and that they've had no problems.
Thanks, Fred.
Okay, we had a motion and a second. I'm going to move on to roll call. Councilmember Chapman.
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton.
Yes.
Councilmember Kendall.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn.
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
We are on to the public hearing on ordinance 21-14, an ordinance amending and supplementing section 4-9 entitled Display of Merchandise in Public Areas, Outdoor/Sidewalk Cafes of Chapter 4, General Licensing of the Code of the City of Asbury Park. Before we open the public hearing up on ordinance 21-14, the city attorney will give us a brief overview.
Yes, the intent of this ordinance is very simple. It removes the beach as one of the public spaces over which a retail establishment or restaurant can expand under a sidewalk/outdoor cafe license. So the beach will no longer be an area that would be available under a sidewalk/outdoor cafe license. That's it.
Do I have a motion to open the public hearing on ordinance 21-14?
Move to
Move
open.
to. Second.
Second, Quinn?
All in favor?
Aye.
The public hearing is now open on ordinance 21-14. Members of the public may participate by using the raise hand function in the meeting or by dialing *9 on your phone. or to raise your hand in the Zoom meeting. I will call your name or the last 4 digits of your phone number when it's your turn to speak. Please state your name and address for the record.
Down in a minute.
Your comments must be about the ordinance being presented for public hearing. I am calling upon 5124. Please state your name and full address for the record.
Hi, Rita Morano, 504 8th Avenue. It's hard to understand what these ordinances are about. What does that mean? They could display on the boardwalk or somewhere else? What does that mean?
So
The ordinance.
essentially, as you know, many restaurants as well as retail establishments within the city have applied on an annual basis to the city for a permit to expand the size of their premises to put, for instance, tables and chairs along Cookman Avenue in the public right-of-way to offer outdoor dining, or on the public boardwalk, outdoor dining on the public boardwalk. A number of years ago, we amended the sidewalk/outdoor cafe ordinance in order to allow premises that were adjacent to the beach to likewise make an application to expand the size of their premises to a certain degree. It wasn't open-ended, but with a square foot limitation, they could expand the size of their premises so long as it was immediately adjacent to the beach. And that is no longer going to be permitted under this ordinance. With regard to the beach.
Okay, that's good. Yes. Are they still paying for those tables and chairs on the boardwalk?
Absolutely.
Okay, that's all I want to hear. That's all I have to say.
I'm calling upon Matt. Matt, please state your name and full address for the record.
Yeah, how you doing? Matthew Cressy again, 1615 Park Avenue. Is this ordinance, by the sounds of it, is this directed at the beach bar by chance, or will they be allowed to be permitted on the beach as they have in the past?
Well, I wouldn't say it's directed at the beach bar, but it will affect the beach bar.
Okay, so you'll not be able to get a permit then?
It will affect any premises that tries to seek an outdoor/sidewalk cafe permit to utilize part of the public beach.
Okay, so so yes, we're not allowed to use the beach bar anymore then. That's correct, Fred?
That would be the end result if this ordinance is passed this evening, correct?
Okay, thank you.
I'm calling upon 4860. Please state your name and full address for the record.
Maureen Nevin, Delay Court. That pretty much, Matt Cressy is fleshing that out. Was pretty much answering my questions too. I wondered if there's quite a bit of land that the beach bar had. When will that end? Will that be effective this summer, or do they have some grace period, or will they be able to get around this somehow by paying more, or is this just restrict them completely from having using the beach as part of the bar?
It restricts and prevents any business from utilizing part of the beach for private purposes associated with their business located immediately adjacent. And the ordinance will be effective, if it's adopted tonight, 20 days from this evening, and no further utilization of the beach or any part of the beach related to a sidewalk/outdoor cafe permit would be allowed from that point forward.
I think that's something that lots of people have wanted to see. I remember actually talking to John Moore. Do you remember John? When they were putting that extra staircase in on the other side, and you got pretty upset because it looked like they were going to do the same thing on the north end that they were doing on the south, and they did, were able to put quite a large entertainment area on the south side. On the north side, sorry. So thank you very much for that explanation. I appreciate it, Fred.
My pleasure.
That's all I have.
Not seeing any other hands raised, a motion to close the public hearing on ordinance 21-14.
More closed. More closed.
Second, Kendall.
All in favor? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The public hearing is now closed on ordinance 21-14. Do I have a motion to adopt ordinance 21-14?
Motion to adopt, Kendall.
Second Moore.
Roll call. Councilmember Chapman.
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton.
Yes.
Councilmember Kendall.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn. Deputy Mayor Quinn.
Yes, sorry.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Fred, I may need you for this. I just want to make it clear that I absolutely had a motion to adopt ordinance 21-13. I believe there was an interruption in the middle of that, and I want to make the record absolutely clear that there was a motion to adopt ordinance 21-13. How do you want me to proceed?
And was the motion seconded? Do you have a
Yes.
notation? The motion was made and seconded, and then it was voted upon. My
Okay.
note reflected it was voted upon 5-0. 5
That's
yes.
correct. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay,
So it sounds like everything is in order.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to clear that up. Okay, we are on to ordinance 21
Whoa, hold on a second. What was 21-13?
It was the delivery fee service.
Okay.
I interrupted that.
Okay, no problem. Go ahead.
Okay, we're on to the public hearing for ordinance 21-15, which is an ordinance of the city of Asbury Park in the county of Monmouth, the state of New Jersey, correcting a scrivener's error in ordinance 21-12. And this is simply an ordinance correcting a typo in the body of the ordinance. The correct block and lot was listed in the title of the ordinance. Do I have a motion to open the public hearing on ordinance 21-12?
Move to open.
Move to second, Quinn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Right.
The public hearing is now open on ordinance 21-15. Members of the public may participate by using the raised hand function in the meeting or by dialing *9 on your phone to raise your hand in the Zoom meeting. I will call your name or the last 4 digits of your phone number when it's your turn to speak. Please state your name, full address for the record, and your comments must be about the ordinance being presented for public hearing. I'm calling upon 5124. Please state your name and address for the record, your full address.
Hi, Rita Morano, 504 8th Avenue, Asbury Park. I forgot what that was about. What did you say? A typo error?
There was a typo in the body of the ordinance. The ordinance was 21-2, and the city simply wished to correct the error, which inadvertently references the wrong block and lot for the property.
Oh, okay. I didn't get you the first time around. Okay.
Does that complete your comments?
Yes.
Not seeing any other hands raised, a motion to close the public hearing on
Motion to
ordinance
close, Kendall.
21-15.
Second, Chapman.
All in favor?
Aye.
Right.
The public hearing is now closed on ordinance 21-15. A motion to adopt ordinance 21-15.
Move to adopt.
Second, Quinn.
Roll call. Councilmember Chapman.
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton.
Yes.
Councilmember Kendall.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn.
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
We are now on to the introduction of the municipal budget introduction for the 2021 season. We have resolution 2021-196, which is a resolution introducing the 2021 municipal budget with a public hearing date of May 12th. Do I have a motion?
Move it, Quinn.
Second, Clayton.
Second, Kendall.
Councilmember Chapman.
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton.
Yes.
Councilmember Kendall.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn.
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, and my bad. I meant to say something or have Donna say something about as far as many people are saying there's going to be a tax increase. This budget's coming in with a tax decrease, so I vote yes.
We are now on to adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn, Quinn.
Second.
Second, Kendall.
All in favor?
Aye.
The meeting is now adjourned.
Aye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Everybody stay safe.